Hello aspirants, welcome to the GS Core, and today we are going to see some MCQs which are drawn from the daily current affairs. So let's begin the session. So first of all, the topics to be covered today, and among the topics, the most important one we have identified is the Untested AI, Monsoon Core Zone, Exports of India, Multimodal Hub, and Indian Model of Secularism. These 5 topics have been identified based on their relative importance from the point of view of prelims and the concepts underlying. Okay, so first of all, let's see the topic number 1, which is the Untested AI. Okay, now this was in news. This was in news because few days back the center had issued some regulations on the need for those AI which are untested. So what is untested here means? Untested means that they are not being tested for their quality, for their substance, for the quality of their content and the result they produce therein. So at times what happened, these untested AI may produce, okay, they may produce some unverified, and that is not grounded in reality or lack proper context and lack proper context. So that's why they at times deliver the wrong information. That's why this is called the untested AI, whose testing had not been done properly, and due to that lack of proper training, okay, because we train the AI, that's just like we have the large language models based, the chat GPT, we train them to the text, to the data sets, to the instruction which help them to produce the results as it was required by the user. However, in the untested AI, due to the lack of training, okay, due to lack of any kind of training, this happens that the data and text or the validation of those data and text, their reliability is, or the accuracy is being questioned. So that's why they face a problem known as the hallucination. So they face a problem known as the hallucination, okay, hallucination, or you can say under that they produce the false information on the pretext that it is the right one, produce false information. So their reliability is being questioned. Okay, hallucination is not a real thing. If we take it from by our example, at times due to some psychological errors, so due to some psychological issues underlying, we face the hallucination that someone is watching us, someone is walking beside us, etc. So hallucination is not a reality. It's not a reality, but it's a construct. Okay, and in that AI, this hallucination is of course not a reality, means it produced the false information. So that's why untested AI was in news, that because center has few days earlier, center has asked them to register and take the permission from the government before their launch. Okay, so center has issued an advisory regarding the untested AI. However, recently, yesterday, center has said that we are not issuing the advisory, but the advisory which has been issued due to the negligent nature of the untested AI to be in the market, because they at times against the main aspects of the AI. So that's why we have issued the advisory, and now onwards we are saying that you need to label your content as an untested AI. So okay, so the new advisory says, okay, the new advisory says that you don't need to register or take the permission, but only label them as untested AI. That is why it's what is in news. Okay, and center has issued the advisory due to the negligent and intelligence guidelines, and those guidelines under which the advisory has been issued is the intermediary guidelines, and the digital media ethics 2021. This was a law, a rule under which the guidelines have been issued by the center. This is important from the prelims point of view. Okay, I hope the concept is clear to you, that why untested AI was in news. Now let's see the question based on that. Question says that we have to consider the following statement regarding the untested AI. Untested AI is those AI models, okay, which hallucinate. AI model generates incorrect or misleading information, presenting it as if it were a fact. Okay, so this is a correct option, as we have just discussed, that when they hallucinate, so they generate the incorrect and misleading information, presenting it as a true or as a fact. So that's why it is a untested AI model. So one is the correct statement here. Large language models are not categorized under the untested AI as they cannot hallucinate. No, it is incorrect one. Why it is incorrect one? That large language models are a subset of AI, thus they hallucinate. Now what is large language models? They are the subset of, they are a part of or subset of the AI models. Okay, and they are also trained on, the vast amount of data, vast amount of text data, in fact, to generate human-like language. So they generate the human-like language, so that's why they are called the large language model. Okay, they can generate the human-like language, and they exhibit the impressive capabilities in the natural language understanding and generation, but they are not immune to hallucination. This is a very important thing here to note, that they are not immune to hallucination. This is very important one to understand. Okay, so despite their sophistication also, LLMs can still produce the misleading or inaccurate content. So that's why only 1A will be the correct option here. Now let's see the next concept we have. The next concept is on the Monsoon core zone. Okay, the Monsoon core zone was in news because in fact the first phase, it was in news. Why? Because the first phase of India's, the second number news item, the first phase of India's atmospheric research testbed was launched in central India. Central India means the region of Bhopal and Madhya Pradesh, MP. In the MP में ये launch हुआ था, and it was launched due to measure the variability in the rainfall. And it was launched to measure or track the variability in the rainfall. Okay, variability in the rainfall. It is a mainly it employed the meteorological instrument for studying the cloud formation that is associated with the monsoon over the central India, and in the central India we have the monsoon core zone. Okay, so that's why this has been launched, and this atmospheric research testbed has been funded by the Ministry of Earth Sciences, which is a government department. Okay, so basically the purpose is to study the nature of monsoon and the variability, because the region of central India is one of the important part which falls under the monsoon core zone. So first of all we need to understand that what is the monsoon core zone. Okay, basically this monsoon core zone refers to the region where the most significant and predictable seasonal changes in the rainfall. So it is a region where, this is a region where there occurs most significant and predictable changes in the rainfall. Okay, this is the monsoon core zone. And why this changes and the variability occurs? Because of it is situated in the subtropical region and influenced by the ITCZ. You must be knowing the ITCZ, that is the intertropical convergence zones. That is the most important thing in our understanding of the monsoons. And ITCZ, the area where the northeast and the southeast, okay, trade winds converge. It is located near the equator. That is the ITCZ, the basic information for you all. Okay, so this monsoon core zone situated in the subtropical regions, influenced by the migration of the intertropical convergence zone and the movement of the monsoon toro. And the core monsoon zone is a region in India stretching from the region of Gujarat to the Bengal. Okay, to the West Bengal in the east. This is the core monsoon core zone. Basically the concept is that It is a zone where due to some monsoon circulation, changes occur in the rainfall. That changes have more significant and predictable in nature, and due to the monsoon circulation it happens, and it usually occur and situated in the subtropical regions influenced by the ITCZ and the movement of the monsoon toro. ITCZ, I told you, ITCZ is an area where the northeast and the southeast trade winds converge and located near the equator or parallel to it, and it mostly follows the sun and moves north in the summer and south in the winter in the northern hemisphere. This is one you have to understand from the prelims point of view. Many of you might be knowing this. Just for a good revision, I am saying this all. So let's see the questions on the monsoon toro, monsoon core zone. The first statement says that monsoon core zone is characterized by consistent and heavy rainfall patterns throughout the year. Okay, so this is statement 1. Here we have that the monsoon core zone is characterized by the consistent and heavy rainfall pattern. No, it is incorrect, because logically we have just read that there are many kind of variability which has been noticed in the monsoon core zone due to the seasonal changes in the rainfall and the monsoon. So that's why this atmospheric test bed has been placed in the central India, because central India is a part of the major food bowl of India, and central India is also dependent on the rainfall. So to check and to give a more predictable and consistent forecasting for the monsoon core zone is very relevant, and that's why it has been launched. So just link with the concept with the here statement 1. So you will find that monsoon core zone is not characterized by the consistent rainfall, but it has some inconsistency in the rainfall pattern. So that's why it is incorrect, that because monsoon core zone is not characterized by the constant, instead it is experiences the seasonal variations in the rainfall intensity with wet and dry season. So that's why 1 is incorrect here. The monsoon core zone is typically located in the central region of India. The word typically has been used here. However, I told you that it is a major part is in the central India, not the typically. So it covers the region from Gujarat to Bengal. Okay, this is the region of monsoon core zone where we have the variability in the rainfall, experiences seasonal variations in the rainfall intensity. Okay, second statement is here also incorrect one. Third number, the active and the breaks events in the monsoon were identified from average rainfall data of critical area of core monsoon zone. It is the correct statement, nothing incorrect in that. Okay, just I have told you the concept here. So for our understanding, it is very important to have that India's atmospheric research test bed, because it provides a particular information on the monsoon core zone, and a separate forecast for the core zone will be helpful for agricultural planning and cropping yield, because this the area of central India is a rain bearing area and also a food ball of India. Is strategic and is stretched from the Gujarat to Bengal, and in particular the major area is covered by the central India. Okay, so that's why we have to see that from the point of view of prelims examination, the monsoon core zone and the atmospheric research center is very helpful. So basically India's atmospheric research test bed will have India's atmospheric research test bed will have in fact 45 to 25 high-end meteorological instruments. Okay, and they will study how they will predict. They will study the cloud formation. They will study the cloud formation and something like they mostly study the low temperatures. Okay, the low temperatures, the low pressure areas. So with the help of these instruments and studying these parameters, they will have a good prediction in the monsoon core zone, which will help in the agricultural planning and high yield. Okay, very logical thing to understand. So let's see the next topic we have. Topic number 3, the exports of India. Why it was in news? Because there was an observation. Okay, there was an observation that recently the exports hit a 11th month high, and 11th month high exports in terms of percentage and the value, 11th month high in February. But gold imports, the imports from the gold, okay, the imports from the gold which we import in large number has put down, okay, and has pushed the imports to the, has pushed the import to US 60 billion US dollar. Okay, so that's why it was in news, and based on that we have framed a question for you. Which of the following factors does not affect the exports of India? So basically the question asks you that which factors does not affect the exports of India, that which factors given the following will not have an impact on the exports of India. Export matlab from India to the outside world. So crisis in the vital sea lanes of communications, yes, it will have an impact. Why? Because I told you from India to the outside world, and sea lanes of communication like Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, strategic oceans, okay, Indo-Pacific. And if there is any problem in these sea lines of communication, it will have an impact on the exports because the communication will be hampered. Just for example, few months back, there was a blockade in the Red Sea by the terrorist organizations and some rebel organizations. So that's why there was an impact on the export potential, and accordingly, the answer was given by the US, and India have also tried to safeguard its sea lines of communication from the Indian Ocean to the Arabian Sea. So that's why a crisis will have an impact on the exports. Okay, the level of the forex reserves, yes, it will have an impact on the exports, because the higher the reserves, so it implies a greater stability. So higher reserves implied a greater stability, so that's why greater stability. Okay, and with that greater stability, and it will provide the confidence in country's economy, so that's why it will have a increase in the number of export, which can have positively influence the export. So that's why number 2 will also be there. Number 3, the price of gold in the global market. Yes, of course, it will not have any impact on the exports. Why? Because the direct impact on the export is less pronounced, because the gold is typically not a major export commodity for most countries. However, some exceptions do exist for countries with significant gold mining industries, where fluctuation in gold prices can directly impact the export revenues and economic performance. But when we take from the broader perspective, the gold will not have any significant impact or effect on the exports of India, because it is not a major commodity of exports. Okay. In fact, we do have an import of gold. As I told you, 60 billions of the import has been pushed by the gold imports. D, changes in the global market demand for the country's goods. It will have a positive impact on that, because the change in the global market demand for country's goods are very crucial determinants of the export performance. And in fact, the shift in the consumer preferences, economic conditions, or the trade policies importing countries, they have a significant impact on the demand for a nation products, thereby influencing the exports level. I hope the concept and the question is clear to you. So only number C option will be correct here, as gold will not have any significant impact and effect on the export potential of India. Next, we have the multimodal hub. Okay, the multimodal hub was in news. Why? Because Indian Railways, very recently, the Indian Railways plans to develop the multimodal transport hubs in the aspirational district program. So basically, this multimodal hub means that this is basically a part of, okay, this multimodal hub transport which railway plan to develop in the aspirational district with a population over 10 lakh. It's a part of this Viksit Bharat, this part of the Viksit Bharat program. Okay, and this multi-modal implies the use of connectivity. Okay, basically it implies the use of connectivity, interconnected multiple transport nodes, and the hub which help in the development and to streamline the project completion, streamline the timings, okay, logistic operations. It will also boost the efficiency and reduce cost by leveraging the synergies among the various transport networks. So that's why it is very important to have the multimodal transport hub, and this has the railway plans to develop that in the aspirational district program. With the aspirational district program, railway want to implement with population over 10 lakh. So that's why it was in news, and Indian Railway plan to turn make this under the it plans to develop some mega terminals from the railway, and it will have a multimodal transport hub. It will create mega railway terminal. So that's why it was in news. It is a part of the Viksit Bharat program. Okay, aspirational district program, many of you might be knowing. Just for a quick revision, it basically it's a initiative by Niti Aayog, and it's a part of that, and this has been launched in the 2018 by Prime Minister of India. Okay, under that it initially identified the 112 districts which has been identified for the immediate interventions in terms of developmental aspect, and this intends to turn the development into the movement facilitated by the government at central, state and district level. So there is a convergence and cooperative federalism. Very good example of that. So based on that, let's see the question we have. The question number 4, statement 1 and 2 based. So we have to find the perfect reason that 2 is correct explanation for 1 or not. So let's see the statement 1 here. The development of multimodal hubs aims to enhance the logistical efficiency and reduce transportation cost by optimizing the utilization of different transport networks. Nothing wrong in that. It is the correct statement because it aims to enhance the logistical efficiency. Because suppose if we are traveling from, suppose this is the map of India, if someone has to export and import the goods from the east to the west, so there is need to be a good connectivity from the, of course, from the sea or the water to the land. Okay, so this is very important. So that's why railway plans to develop the multimodal hub transport network in those districts which will help in the logistical efficiency, and also they will help in the employment generation. They will help in the increase in the social economic indicators also, and further it also reduce the transportation cost by optimizing the utilization of different transport networks. So when you reduce the transportation cost, so you will have a climate friendly nature, it will have more sustainability. Okay, statement 2 says that multimodal hub serves as a pivotal point where various modes of transport converge, facilitating the seamless transfer of goods between different transport modes. So 2 explain the 1, so that's why answer will be A here. I hope the concept is clear to you. Now next question, concept we have the Indian model of secularism. This was in news because of the Citizenship Amendment Act, and this has been now operationalized. So based on that, one question is very important for you guys to understand the Indian model of secularism. So Citizenship Amendment Act has raised significant questions about the Indian model of secularism. Why? Because in the CAA Act, the religion has been used. The word religion has been used, that religious minorities from these countries, okay, and in these countries the minorities religion like Hindu, Christian, Sikh, Buddhist, Parsi, etc. had been considered. So most of the critics says that the provisions of the CAA concerning only one religion violates the Indian constitution and the Indian secularism, because secularism is a part of our Indian constitution in the preamble itself. So that's why it is very important to understand the Indian model of secularism. So let's first see the questions here. The idea of the interreligious equality is crucial to the Indian conception of secularism. So we have to see that which of the following statement regarding the Indian model of secularism is incorrect. So always focus what is asking, that is incorrect one. So we have to identify the incorrect among the following. The first statement says that the idea of interreligious equality, it means the equality between different religions. That for example, if the state is taking some steps, positive steps for reform in one religion, so of course it will have the right and it will take the reforms for the other religion too. It will have the equality in the consideration of religious ideals or some social reforms or changes in the religion. However, there is a concept of interreligious equality which denotes that Indian secularism is compatible with the state, is compatible with the idea of equality between different religions. It doesn't give any religion a more preferential treatment than the other one. So that's why a equality word has been used. It is very crucial to the Indian conception of secularism. It's also called the positive secularism. Okay. Second statement says that Indian secularism is not compatible with the state-sponsored religious reforms. No, it is incorrect, because the state is sponsored religious reforms. If any of the religion have a derogatory features which violates the constitutional provision, it will have a reform from the central government or from the Indian Parliament by amending the constitution or whatever course is needed. So that's why it is compatible with the state sponsored religious reforms, okay, as evident in the untouchability laws, triple talaq, etc., or even the Sabrimala, etc. Okay, so 2 will be the incorrect one. So let's see if we imply the logic here. So 2 and 2 are incorrect. So that's why conceptual clarity is very important. That what is secularism? Secularism means the equality. The Indian concept of secularism means equality among all religion. No kind of inequality will be followed, and for the state all religions are equal. Okay, so that's why 2 statement is incorrect. So we can easily eliminate the number 2 statement. However, let's see Secularism is explicitly defined in the Indian Constitution. Yes, it is not true, because it has nowhere been defined in the Constitution of India. However, it finds a mention in the preamble of India, but has not been defined. It's an open concept which can be implied or implied by the court or the parliament, whatever or wherever it is needed to be. Okay, however, it is not yet defined. So 3 will also be incorrect here. Article 29 gives protection only to religious minorities. No, it will have the Article 29. Under Article 29, we have the protection of also to the linguistic minorities. Beside the religious minorities, we have the protection to the linguistic minorities also. So that's why number 4 statement is also incorrect here. Okay, so basically Article 29 and 30 provide protection not only to religious minorities but also to the linguistic and even the cultural minorities. So that's why it is very important, because even the cultural minorities are considered minorities, because it is very important to ensure that their culture is preserved, and with that preservation of their culture, the distinct identity and heritage of the Indian society is preserved. So that's why we have from 25 to 28 called the Indian Constitution, which guarantees the freedom of religion to all. Okay, under that the individuals are allowed to profess, practice and propagate the religion freely. And 29 and even the Article 30 provides the protection not only to religious but the linguistic and cultural minorities. So with that, the session ends here. I hope you get the concept and the clarity. See you next time. Take care.